Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I talk about motherhood, I talk about pregnancy, I'm dabbling in vlogging. So here we go today. I do things pretty naturally, eco-friendly. That's my spiel. Today I'm going to talk to you about breastfeeding my two girls. One's 2 years old, one is like 3.5 months old. It's been a very different experience. I'll tell you about it as we go. Just dropped off Aaliyah at daycare. Oh, that lighting is rough. As he's gonna do some tummy time. I was planning on getting some work done while she slept, but then she fell asleep in the car. I tried to transfer her to the carrier, no go. So she'll probably fall asleep again in like an hour. So for now, I'm just gonna work out. Aaliyah's sick, so it's been kind of just challenging to get stuff done. Everything's just all mixed up. So today I'm working on my YouTube course and I'm gonna script a few videos so that I can film them on Friday, but I found out on Friday her daycare is closing at noon for some teacher training. I will still script so that Friday morning I can just get here, film it, and then go pick her up. Also, I just saw a recall on the Mamaroo. I'm gonna do my workout. You have to lay on the ground. We tried the Mamaroo with Aaliyah. It just didn't work for us. She didn't like it, which is typical of like all of these things you're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm gonna get it for my kid, and then I hate it. This is what I'm doing right now, leg up the wall. We have a bassinet in the living room that like keeps her in it, and she can do tummy time in there. It's so big. So that has been something that has been really nice because I can put her in it, protect her from the toddler, but also she's not restricted in how she sits. We did that a lot with Aaliyah, definitely less with her because the toddler will just go over to her right away. But Aaliyah was never like, she was always on the floor basically as much as she could be. Random thoughts. Have you ever made something for your family and then, I don't know, Seth doesn't like it? I'm just warming up some curry that I made yesterday. I make a mean curry. There's like, I've got a sweet potato curry or something that I make. Takes forever. We were watching Zac Efron's, I don't know, whatever show he has on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called now. And he was with this like food blogger or something, and she made it on the show, and I was like, what is that? So I looked it up and found it and make it occasionally, but the prep time takes forever because it's like a spaghetti squash, or not spaghetti, just a squash and sweet potatoes, and then you have to make the rice. It just takes a long time, but it's delicious. Well, then I found a different curry recipe, and I was like, this sounds great. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to combine them. I'm just going to do a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one. It's going to be great. I'm not going to measure anything. I'm just going to sprinkle stuff in. Hopefully Seth doesn't watch this because he's like, why does this taste funny? I'm like, I don't know. Just, I don't know. Just different. I tried a different recipe. So I was like, are you going to take any of that curry to work today? He's like, no, I'm not. I was like, I'll eat it then. All right, let's talk about this breastfeeding journey. So with Aaliyah, obviously with your first kid, you have no idea what age you're doing. You're just like, I don't know, here's my boob, let's get started. What I've learned about breastfeeding, and I've shared this in like every time I talk about breastfeeding, is that when your baby's first born, if you can, which I understand sometimes you can't, and that's fine. Don't stress about it, just do it as soon as you can. But do it as soon as you can. Apparently your nipple releases like a, looks like that's my nipple. It's not, it's happening here. These little pads getting in the way. Releases a smell. I can't even do this casually. Releases a smell similar to the amniotic fluid. So your baby is immediately attracted to your boob to start breastfeeding, which is interesting. So we did that with Aaliyah, and our pediatrician is also a lactation consultant. So when we went in, I was like, yeah, it's kind of not very comfortable. And you go in at what, like a couple days and then 2 weeks or something? She had me latch, and I'm like a fairly conservative person. Like I'll turn around and change when I need to change. Not anymore. Just whip my boob out wherever to get some help. She's like, okay, so you want to squeeze it like a hamburger and then put it in their mouth and help them out. Don't go to baby, have baby come to you, all these rules. And then she's like, and then when they're done nursing, you want your nipple to look like a chapstick, like round and flat, not like a lipstick where it's squished. Well, it was looking like a lipstick like all the time. Eventually got some chapped nips and had to use like nipple cream, and sometimes I would just like cry thinking that she had to latch on. And I remember someone at the hospital just being like, give it a couple weeks. If you're interested in breastfeeding, just give it a couple weeks and it'll all work out. And I was like, okay. And then I had someone else tell me to wait 6 weeks before introducing a bottle. Kind of wish I would have dabbled in that a little sooner. So essentially what I'm trying to say was, I felt like Aaliyah in my breastfeeding journey was like pretty smooth, even though I had these nips that were real sensitive, and sometimes I didn't want to nurse her. I was like, oh, we're doing good. Little did I know, I'm gonna make this and then we'll talk about the lip tie. But before we talk about the lip tie, there's like a bunch of stuff that I need to get done outside of the house, and it's so challenging. Can you see me spilling all of this? It's so challenging because I'm also trying to work when Aaliyah's in daycare. So I'm like, well, I need to get my rings resized. Like, this is my ring that Seth got me. Esme needs to go back in for a doctor's appointment. It's fine. That's just coming straight off the countertop. I need to go to the post office. I've got stuff in my P.O. box that needs to be picked up. I need to order conditioner. Like all these, I need to respond to emails. But I'm like, oh, when Aaliyah's in daycare, it's time to work. So I'm going to work. So apparently this vlog is just going to be over the course of a few days. Right now we're on our walk. As he usually falls asleep, Aaliyah usually runs around like a wild woman. Talk more about the breastfeeding when I'm not in public. Just over here literally crying because Aaliyah won't take a nap. If you do sleep train your kid, like I talked about in one of my videos, don't stop. I mean, she got sick, so we just started laying with her again, which I wouldn't have done anything differently. But now I can't lay with her when I have this one, unless I just leave this one to cry. And so we are not doing nap time today. And I don't know why that gets me so upset. Probably just because I want to break. This one's finally sleeping. Maybe I'll just do the bob while I chat with you. Today's day 3 of filming. Yesterday, I wasn't planning on doing any filming because pretty much Aaliyah goes to daycare Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today's Friday, and it's a half day. So I'm gonna try and get some stuff done today. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays are like straight up mom days, and Aaliyah has been refusing her nap when it's just me and not Seth to help me. I really have a tough time when she refuses her nap. I don't know why it like just gets me at my core. So I usually need like 20 minutes of like screen time. Go watch TV. I just need a minute to like reevaluate my day. So that's the little bit that you got to see. I honestly am like, do I post this? But I feel like that's the reality of momming. So lip ties. So Aaliyah had a lip tie. Let me back up. So when I first started nursing Aaliyah, I would nurse her on this side and then I would use the Haakaa on this side. This Haakaa. And if you use the Haakaa, you're gonna fold it back like this, give it a little squeeze, stick it on your boob, and then unfold it. It'll be stuck to you like that, and then it'll just pull. If you have not listened to my podcast on breastfeeding and you are about to start breastfeeding, please listen to it. If you're interested in breastfeeding, it just explains how your supply comes in the first 6 weeks, and there's just a ton of good information, so please watch that. Basically what she said is I was telling my body, hey, yo, I've got twins here. I've got a baby here and a baby here. Make the milk. So I had an insane oversupply. And Aaliyah at her 2-month appointment was like 12 pounds. She was a chunky baby and I was so proud. Then her poop started getting weird and someone's like, oh, maybe it's too much fore milk or hind milk. The chiropractor was like, I think she has a lip, cheek, and tongue tie. And I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt anymore when she nurses and she's clearly gaining weight. So we went to the dentist. If you're in Minnesota, DM me on Instagram and I will tell you where I went because she's amazing. Because it was a free consultation, which not all of them are. And she looked and she's like, yeah, she's got the tongue ties. And she's like, but then now there's 2 ways that you can do it. One way is you're not feeling pain, she's gaining weight, just see how it goes, ride it out. Or there's a problem, let's fix it. She's like, it's just whatever you decide to do. And I was like, thank you for letting us make that decision. And so we chose not to do it. And I think because of my oversupply, it was just fire hosing into our mouth. So she didn't really, it was fine. Like everything was compensated because she was getting such an intense letdown that she was getting enough, I guess. We decided not to do it. And the thing now is like, it can impact her speech, but it might not. Some kids like figure out how to deal with it. Now Esme, I'm pretty sure has got one as well, but as they get stronger, they can just like pull the milk even if they have the lip tie. So I'm gonna have someone on my podcast to talk about lip ties, and I might change my mind about all of this, but for now I'm like, okay, we have no pain, she's gaining weight, we're gonna leave it. But then some people are like, yeah, but when they're toddlers, they have to get put under to get their lip tie taken care of instead of just when they're an infant, you can just like zip it. So I don't know if we made the right decision. We're just gonna let it be and not mess with things until like there is a problem that we need to deal with. So you just don't know. Oh, this is the other Haakaa that I have. So this is like the ladybug, and it's similar idea. I got this time around because it's not as much of a suction. It just kind of collects the letdown, but you do still like pop it on so that there's some suction. It just sits in your bra, which is nice. This could not, and this would get kicked off a lot. Whatever. I got another one. I don't know where my first one went, but this one has got the suction on the bottom. I like never used that. I thought that was gonna be so handy, but I stopped using that Haakaa for this time around. So that's my tongue tie, lip tie situation. Both my babies have it. I'm pretty sure she does, but we decided not to do anything because everything was going okay. Might we have to do it later? Possibly, but we'll figure it out. The dentist was like, is she choking? It's just she coughs sometimes when she's nursing. I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, she's like not choking, but she's choking because there's so much there. I was like, okay, cool. So now that I'm watching that video, I think I need to buy another camera. I'm doing this on my phone, so it's like, okay. And if I got in better lighting, it might be better, but somebody said in the last one, they're like, why is your house so tidy? I'm like, probably because I tidied up like exactly what you saw. This one I have not. Anyway, I think I'm gonna buy a vlogging setup. A cheaper camera, but one that is light and I can take anywhere, but still is like good quality, because I don't love doing this on my phone. I just read a book called Atomic Habits, and he basically is like, anything you want to change or do differently, you need to come up with like good systems to actually make it happen, so that you're not just like, I don't know why it's not working. Oh my gosh, I hope that big spin didn't make you sick. And so I think if I got like a vlogging setup, I would do this more and it would be less of a barrier to do it. TBD. Let's keep talking about breastfeeding. So when I first had Aaliyah, there was a nurse at the hospital who looked into my soul and was like, if you want to breastfeed, do it for at least 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. So that was like the plan. And I'm glad she said that, because the first 2 weeks are really hard. Like, especially with Aaliyah, it was super just gnarly. And like I said, with Esme, none of that. Like, I never had chapped nips. I never needed to use any of the butters. It was just like, she just, I don't know, maybe it's because she has the lip tie and she doesn't get that great of a latch because she clicks. IBCLC said that could be a lip tie thing, but my supply is just, I don't know. We'll see. Ooh, I'm wearing Seth's watch. Also with this Atomic Habits book that I'm reading, it really is like, you need to figure out what you want to change and then make it happen. Meaning like, make it easy to do and almost hard not to do. So I feel like I've been on my phone a lot and more than I want to be around my kids. So I was like, I refused the Apple Watch because I wanted to be disconnected. I didn't want to be so connected, but I was always like bringing my phone, like when we would go to the park, just in case I needed to call 911 or if I needed to whatever, or if somebody called me. Now I think I want one, because then I can just have this and I don't have to bring my phone. And then I won't scroll on things, but I could still call people or text someone if I had to. And so I think I'm gonna buy one, but I'm gonna buy an old one because I don't wanna spend a lot of money on it. I don't really care that much. I just wanna be off my phone more. The other thing that I'm doing differently with Esme is when she cries, I don't immediately bring her to the boob. Like, that was my solution for everything with Aaliyah. Like, if she got hurt, I'd bring her to the boob. If she was crying, I'd bring her to the boob. If she was fussing, I'd bring her to the boob. If she woke up, I'd bring her to the boob. At every moment. And so I made a really big point to do like the wake, eat, play. So when they wake up, you feed them, you play with them, and then you help them go to sleep. She's been nursing to sleep at night and like for some of the naps, but I've tried to continue to do the carrier naps, which I'm sure are their own thing. Like, I'm like, oh, she doesn't even nurse to sleep when she does a carrier nap, but she's also doing a carrier nap. So I don't know. I'm not that worried about it. I don't know why I have so much anxiety about their sleep. When Aaliyah skips her nap, or like when I know that I have to have them both for nap time, or I need to put Ezzy down, but Aaliyah's here, and it ends up usually working out fine, but just the anxiety leading up to it, I need to figure out how to let go. I have been like trying to comfort Ezzy in different ways. Like when she cries, I'll like pat her belly or like rub her belly, and sometimes she falls back to sleep, and I'm like, what? With Aaliyah, I never did that. I just always brought her to the boob. So that would be a recommendation. We're not doing bottles, and that's, I don't know. I'm like, it's so much easier not to do bottles. I don't have to deal with pumping. I don't have to deal with washing bottles. I don't have to deal with blah, blah, blah. And I do feel very grateful that I'm able to even do that. Like, because most people have to go to work, so they have to pump. That's just what you have to do. So I understand that that's like a privilege. The other part of me is like, is it easier? Because that means that I'm always on like a 3-hour leash. Like, I can't go away for the day because A, I don't really have milk for her, and B, she doesn't take a bottle. Apparently this is just chat with Shay time, but this time around I'm like, okay, I kind of know what to expect because I've done it with Aaliyah. And granted, Ezzy will do her own thing, but like with Aaliyah, I just thought whatever was going on was how it was going to be forever now. And now I know that it might last a couple days, it might last a couple weeks, it might last a couple months, or like her nursing to sleep. I did that with Aaliyah until she was like 14 months. And I did it to get my period back because I never got my period until 14 months postpartum when I stopped night weaning. We stopped nursing altogether at 18 months because I was pregnant with this one and I was like repulsed by breastfeeding. And I would recommend not weaning until you're totally ready because your hormones do wild things when you wean. I was like, I need to be on antidepressants, I need to be on depression medication, and I need to be on ADD, and stuff, and I need to go to couples therapy, and. So just be ready for that hormone switch. I just know that things will start to level out and like chill out because I've done it with Aaliyah. And so I know that that's coming with Esme. So like her 4-month sleep regression is probably coming up. It's between 3.5 to like 5 months that it can happen. I remember that with Aaliyah just being absolutely insane. I know that it's coming, but I know that it's gonna end this time. And so I just feel more prepared, I guess. So lots of thoughts about this. I also have friends that are just starting breastfeeding now, and I want to tell them all the things, but I'm also like, I have no idea. Like things were so different between Aaliyah and Esme, and I thought Aaliyah was easy, and then Esme came and it was even easier. But I know that people like struggle so hard with latch, and I don't know how to recommend things. So I'm always just like, please go talk to a lactation consultant if you're having any struggles, because they can help you with the latch and they can help you with all the things. I basically just want to be like, look, every baby's different. Don't listen to what anyone says unless they're a lactation consultant or an IBCLC. So that's my advice for that. And go listen to that podcast. Okay, I guess I just wanted to tell you, latch your baby as soon as you can when they're born. Listen to that podcast to know about how your milk comes in. Both my babes have lip ties. Aaliyah had an oversupply and was very painful like for the first 2 months. And then she got teeth one time and she sneezed. She literally made a little scab on my nipple. It was awesome. Couldn't nurse on that side for a while. But when they have teeth, they don't use their teeth. They use their tongue. That's another thing that everyone's like, well, what, you're gonna nurse your baby with teeth? It's like, yeah, they're not using their teeth. I don't know. Is to sit down with Shay and talk about breastfeeding. Here's the other thing. Aaliyah was a COVID baby. I never left the house, basically. It was super isolating and gnarly, and I just got used to nursing whenever, however, wherever I wanted. And then with Ezzy, I just don't care as much anymore. So I have to, I don't know, like I'll be on a walk and Ezzy's crying and I'm like, oh, she's hungry, and I'll just nurse her while I'm walking around my neighborhood. I'm sure my neighbors just think I'm insane. I don't like flash my boob out, but I'll put her on. Maybe I try to do it in the carrier, but I don't know how people do that. Like how do you, I don't know how people do that. So I've just become a lot more comfortable with that. And if you're starting breastfeeding, Henley tanks. Look up Henley tanks, look up Henley shirts. It's just where the buttons are in the front, so you can just open up real easy and nurse away. I use like a sports bra it's by Kindred Bravely. Do I have a discount code? I don't remember. In the description, I'll put whatever I have. If you go on their website, you'll see my face. That unlatches from the top. With my oversupply, I hated those because I was always like overflow and it would get all over the bottom of it, where I preferred to pull it up so that I could just wipe off all the milk that dribbled down. That's a preference though. You either go up or you open down. Okay, this is getting a little bit too long, but wait, there's more. I'm just about to film a couple other videos and I forgot. She prefers one side to the other. You can bring them into chiro. I don't know much about it except for that there's like cranial sacral stuff that they can do or adjustments that they can do. If they're like preferring one side, maybe one side's tight and it doesn't feel as good to nurse like this. So if your child is preferring one side to the other, maybe talk to a chiropractor. Fun fact. I hope this video is interesting or helpful, just to at least let you know that it's the wild, wild west out there for what's gonna happen. So just be prepared as you can and just be open to whatever happens, right? Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.